Warning: this video contains graphic content that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Step into the shadows as we go on a harrowing journey, delving deep into the dark annals of history, where the most shocking and grisly murder cases await your exploration. Brace yourself for spine-chilling tales that will both captivate and disturb, unraveling the mysteries of humanity's darkest deeds. Once upon a time, in the bustling city of Kobe, Japan, a frail and curious boy named Issei Sagawa was born on April 26, 1949. From a young age, he struggled with various health issues that left him physically weak, but his mind was anything but feeble. Issei found solace in the world of Western culture and literature, developing a fascination with the concept of beauty that would later take a dark turn. As the years passed, Issei's desire to experience the world beyond Japan's shores grew stronger. He dreamed of a life filled with art, literature, and adventure. His aspirations led him to the Sorbonne University in Paris, France, where he embarked on a journey to pursue his studies in literature. Little did anyone know that this young man's fascination with beauty would twist into something unimaginable. It was the year 1981 when Issei's life took a horrifying turn. He found himself drawn to a fellow student named Renée Hardevelt, a vivacious young woman whose presence seemed to radiate the kind of beauty Issei had always longed for. Under the guise of discussing poetry, he invited her to his apartment. But what transpired within those walls was a macabre nightmare beyond comprehension. Driven by a disturbing fixation on his own perceived weaknesses, Issei Sagawa meticulously orchestrated a chilling plan to take the life of a young woman, choosing her for the very attributes he believed he lacked: health and beauty. Plagued by feelings of personal inadequacy, he deemed himself feeble, unattractive, and diminutive. This obsession led him to fixate on his victim, Renée Hardevelt. As Hardevelt innocently engrossed herself in poetry at Sagawa's apartment, she remained oblivious to the impending tragedy. With calculated precision, Sagawa aimed a rifle at her exposed neck and fired a single shot that shattered the serene atmosphere. Overwhelmed by the gravity of his own actions, he succumbed to unconsciousness in the aftermath, only to awaken to the horrifying realization that he was compelled to execute the grotesque plan he had conceived. Sagawa proceeded in sexually assaulting her corpse. Afterwards, he wanted to eat her, but could not bite into the skin because his teeth were not sharp enough. So he left the apartment and purchased a butcher knife. Sagawa consumed various parts of Renée's body, either raw or cooked, while saving other parts in his refrigerator. Sagawa also took photographs of Hardevelt's body at each eating stage. Once the remains of her body that he did not consume started decomposing, Sagawa then attempted to dump the remains of Renée's corpse in a lake in the Bois de Boulogne park, carrying her dismembered body parts in 2 suitcases. He was apprehended while attempting to dispose of Renée's remains. The world recoiled in shock at the ghastly truth that emerged from his apartment walls. Arrested and charged with murder and desecration of a corpse, Issei's fate hung in the balance. However, the legal proceedings took an unexpected turn. Issei's wealthy family's connections and the intricacies of French law led to a shocking verdict. He was declared legally insane and unfit to stand trial. The world watched in disbelief as justice seemed to slip through its fingers. Issei was confined to a mental institution, but his story was far from over. In 1984, a diplomatic agreement between France and Japan resulted in Issei's deportation back to his homeland. Once in Japan, he faced a similar fate, being deemed legally insane and confined to a mental institution. Yet, in a baffling twist, he was released after just a short period of time, less than 2 years. The reasons behind this premature release would spark debate and outrage for years to come. As Issei emerged back into society, his notoriety grew like a dark cloud, overshadowing his every move. He embraced his infamy, becoming a minor celebrity, appearing in media outlets, giving interviews, and even writing books about his twisted desires and actions. The world grappled with a sense of disbelief and anger, wondering how a man who had committed such heinous acts could seemingly walk free. Issei Sagawa's life spanned many years, and he passed away in November of 2022 due to pneumonia. His funeral was a private affair, attended exclusively by his relatives. The tale of Issei Sagawa is one of horror, fascination, and societal questions that remain unanswered. His actions and the subsequent lack of significant consequences continue to haunt our collective conscience, serving as a reminder of the complexities of justice, mental health, and the darkest corners of human desires. In the vast expanse of the Canadian landscape, a chilling event unfolded on a Greyhound bus in the summer of 2008. The passengers, each on their own journey, had no inkling that their ride would become the backdrop of a horrifying tragedy. Amid the hum of the engine and the rhythmic rumble of wheels on the asphalt, a man named Vince Lee, plagued by a torment within his mind, sat among the other travelers. Unbeknownst to anyone, his thoughts had become a labyrinth of darkness, and his grip on reality was slipping. As the bus journeyed through the scenic landscapes, the atmosphere shifted abruptly. In an inexplicable act, Vince Lee's inner demons manifested into a shocking eruption of violence. Seated beside him was a young man named Tim McLean, an innocent traveler lost in his own thoughts. In a moment of surreal horror, Vince Lee took out a large knife and began stabbing him in the neck and chest. Chaos engulfed the bus as screams pierced the air. Passengers scrambled in terror, desperately seeking escape from the nightmare unfolding before them. Vince Lee's frenzied attack was savage, a shocking display of violence that defied comprehension. The passengers' pleas and cries for mercy were met with a chilling void as Vince Lee seemed detached from the reality of the brutality he was inflicting. As the attack unfolded, the bus driver swiftly pulled over, and both he and the terrified passengers fled the vehicle. In a gruesome culmination, Lee proceeded to decapitate McLean, shockingly displaying the severed head to terrified onlookers outside the bus. After this horrifying act, he returned to McLean's lifeless body, embarking on a grisly process of dismemberment. In a deeply disturbing twist, Lee even resorted to eating parts of McLean's flesh amidst this ghastly ordeal. The authorities were alerted, and law enforcement swiftly arrived at the scene. What they encountered was a grim tableau of violence that would forever be etched into their memories. Vince Lee was apprehended, his eyes vacant and his demeanor detached. The enormity of his actions was slowly sinking in, a stark contrast to the blood-stained chaos he had left behind on the bus. Tim McLean's life had been abruptly and brutally cut short, leaving a community shattered and a nation grappling with the unimaginable. In the aftermath of the Greyhound bus murder, Vince Lee's mental state took center stage in the legal proceedings. Questions arose about his responsibility and the capacity of his mind to comprehend the magnitude of his actions. The court sought to balance justice with an understanding of the complexities of mental illness. The story of the Greyhound bus murder is one of profound tragedy, a reminder of the fragility of human sanity and the devastating consequences that can arise when it frays. It serves as a chilling narrative of an event that shook a nation, leaving scars that time can never fully heal. Post-World War II glamour of Los Angeles, a tale of mystery and darkness emerged that would captivate the nation. It was 1947, and the city's allure was a veneer over a web of secrets waiting to be unraveled. At the heart of this intrigue was the story of Elizabeth Short, a young woman whose life and death would become forever intertwined with the infamous moniker the Black Dahlia. Elizabeth Short, often referred to as Beth or Liz, was a strikingly beautiful woman with raven black hair and an enchanting smile. Drawn to the glittering lights of Hollywood, she harbored dreams of stardom and a life far removed from her troubled past. Yet her aspirations collided with a cruel fate. In January of 1947, Los Angeles awoke to a chilling discovery. Elizabeth Short's lifeless body had been found in a vacant lot. The brutality of her death sent shockwaves through the city, as headlines painted a grim picture of a gruesome murder that defied comprehension. Short's lifeless form bore the hallmarks of a horrifying nightmare. Grisly details etched a chilling tableau that defied reason. Her body, severed clean at the waist, lay drained of life and color, a haunting contrast against the pallid white of her skin. A forensic examination unveiled the cruel timeline of her final hours. The veil of death had descended upon her roughly 10 hours prior to the agonizing discovery. The telltale signs of meticulous care were evident, as the body seemed to have been subjected to a ghastly cleansing ritual. In a grotesque defilement of her beauty, her face bore the scars of a sadistic artist. A vicious slash extended from the corners of her mouth to her ears, a brutal transformation known as the Glasgow smile. Her once graceful form now displayed vicious lacerations on her thigh and chest, places where patches of her very flesh had been cruelly excised. The brutal dismemberment was compounded by the macabre arrangement of her remains, the lower half neatly separated, her intestines carefully tucked beneath her buttocks, and her body poised in an unnerving diorama. Her hands reached out above her head, her elbows forming ominous right angles, while her legs lay spread in an unsettling display. The investigation that followed unearthed a web of possibilities and suspects, each more enigmatic than the last. Elizabeth's life seemed to be veiled in a shroud of secrets, with her acquaintances offering glimpses into her tumultuous journey. As detectives meticulously pieced together her last days, the media frenzy intensified, giving birth to the haunting nickname the Black Dahlia, a moniker that would forever link her to the gruesome crime. The media's relentless coverage heightened the pressure on law enforcement, and the case became a nationwide obsession. As the years rolled on, the identity of the perpetrator remained elusive. The Black Dahlia story transformed from a crime into a haunting legend, and her name became synonymous with mystery and tragedy. The tale of Elizabeth Short's life and death continues to capture imaginations, inspiring books, movies, and countless theories about the true nature of her fate.
Thank you for joining us in the premiere of the Most Gruesome Murders in History series. If you found this episode compelling, consider showing your support by liking and subscribing. Your encouragement fuels our passion. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.